Yeah, yeah. Too bad, too bad, too bad, too bad, too bad, too bad. She got me thinking that she too bad, too bad, too bad, too bad, too bad, too bad. She got me thinking that she.
Hey, what's going on? So I just returned my car at the airport. I rented a car to go to Blacksburg, Christiansburg area to teach a workshop, which was super fun. And so I have all my stuff over here in the corner. I kind of set up shop. um, I had thought about this on the way back. It's like a 5-hour trip, so I had a lot of time to think. And one of the things that I thought about was cross training. Okay, so cross training is basically when an athlete has a specific sport, and they have a specific type of exercise regimen that they do. When they incorporate cross training into their exercise regimen, what that means is that they are taking other exercises that they could do or other exercises that could benefit them for multiple reasons. And I'm going to focus on two. So the first one is to train outside of things that they are used to training, right? So there's certain shortcomings, say when you're training for basketball or football or boxing or hockey or whatever. And so there are certain downfalls to that because you're only training on one specific type. But say I was a football player and I also did cross training in basketball exercise. And so any shortcomings that the basketball exercise and the football exercises have will be overcompensated by the other training that I'm getting. Okay, so the other thing is to stretch your physical and mental boundary, right? Because you're thinking of exercise in one specific way if you're doing one specific type of regimen, but you need to start shifting your brain to start thinking of other ways you can use your body and other ways you can control what it is that you're doing based off the sport. What does that have to do with dancing? Literally everything. First of all, because dancing is a sport, I call it an emotionally interactive sport specifically because it's an art and it's interactive and it's emotional, but it has this athletic nature to it that incorporates not only the pushing of your physical body, but also your mental and emotional body, if you could say that those have bodies. So what that means for dancing is that when we cross-training is super important because you have certain things that you need to grow in. Say, for example, I have B100 Dance. That's my business. I had a certain time where I was building the business and learning and understanding what business is like, right? Marketing and sales and, social media marketing and structure and pricing and, talking to my clients and building a client base and creating a talk show and what it means to have a content calendar and all these other things that have nothing to do with actually dancing itself, right? And then I have another side that's like curriculum and lesson planning and choreography and training my own body so that I can do the things that I need to create for my students, right? So I'm training my body in choreography. I'm training in planning the curriculum or creating the curriculum. I'm planning out how I'm going to teach them the curriculum. But then I'm also charging them and also doing the marketing and I'm also doing all these other things. So it's tempting to say that all this other side, like the admin side of business, has nothing to do with being a dancer, when in reality, it's the structure that all the creativity is housed in, right? And then the other side is choreography, and it's like I'm just doing the artistic side. I'm just creating choreography. I'm just creating stories or lesson planning or curriculum or training my own body and like waking up in the morning and doing specific dance exercises for my own body. Then I'll be falling behind on charging my clients. I'll be falling behind on marketing so that people don't come to my classes. I'll be falling behind on getting gigs or teaching workshops like I just did over this weekend. So it's tempting to think of one versus the other as unrelated, when in reality we should think of them as cross-training. So you might be in a specific place where you're only focused on one thing, and it's tempting to be like, oh man, I'm only focusing on this one thing, and I'm falling behind on all these other things. When in reality, you're training one part of your brain, and then you will rotate and shift into something else. And then your schedule will look more like choreography, and then you'll shift. And it'll look more like taking classes for yourself, and then you'll shift. It'll be more like learning how to start a business, and then it'll shift. And so you're keeping all the parts of your brain, let alone your career or your business or your dance life, healthy and active and fit because you're cross-training in all these different areas, right? Even things that you don't think are completely related. For example, I had a student who I was doing private lessons with her for musical theater. She did this super like pivot shift in her life that her mom was explaining to me, that she was in like all AP classes and she's super intelligent. She was like honor roll and all these different things and super academically sharp, right? And then all of a sudden she pivots into, I want to do musical theater as a career instead of like an accountant or something, right? And so it's tempting in her position to say, I wasted all of this time. All this time is wasted, and now I have to start over again in this other thing that has nothing to do with the thing that I was doing before. When in reality, the discipline and the academic success or prowess that she gave herself through this training, through her AP classes and through her, like the academic sharpness that she had, transfers over into musical theater, because when she's given an assignment, when she's given a character, when she's giving acting exercises, when she's given choreography, she treats them as things that she should practice, she should train in, and she should sharpen in a disciplined manner, because that's how what she learned in school. She saw it as a task, as an assignment, and she just like clamps her jaws into it, and it makes her not only a great student to have, but also an amazing performer. So when she was in the production that I choreographed, she wasn't just her. It was, she joined the production. I was a choreographer for the production. That's besides the point. When she was in that production, she was one of the best. I'm gonna say best in heavy quotes. She was one of the best students to have, because when we gave her assignments, whether it was a singing, acting, or dancing teachers, she saw it and then she clamped onto it, and she's like, this is what I'm doing and this is how I'm going to do it. And so we could give her direction, and it was easy to direct her because she saw it as things that she could improve on. And so none of the academic training that she had was wasted at all. Really, in reality, in hindsight, it was all cross-training for musical theater. And so it's not that she should just completely drop academics. In fact, she should return to academics and keep doing well in school, because you should do well in school because you're smart, just because you can be smart just because you're, artistic. But the cross training that she has in dancing and singing and acting and school all involve her training different parts of her brain. That's the conveyor belt for the baggage airport noises. Anyways, it's just an encouragement to say, okay, what things in my life have I done that I think are unrelated to what I want to do in dancing? Or what dancing training have I gotten that I feel is, not helpful for the other things that I've done? Like, oh man, I did ballet all my life, and now I'm trying to do something with hip hop, and my body's not trained for it at all. And it's like, well, you still have this body control, you still have the spatial awareness, you still have this training, you still have the ability to look at something and absorb and learn from it and be a good student from it. Just apply that in a different area. It's cross training. So let me know some of the things that you have done. Like make a list of like 3 things, right? And send them to me. We can start a conversation, or throw them in the comments below. I'm going to put some links to the video that I did in Westover in the description and in the show notes. So just hit me up. I'd love to keep continuing the conversation. And I just really encourage you to think about the things that you've done that you think are unrelated. Like make a list and then be like, how can this be applied to this other area? Because I can guarantee it does. Yeah, nothing is wasted. Time is never wasted. I can attest to that myself, because all those examples that I just gave you before I gave the example of my student were all me and are all me right now. So when I find myself in being heavy in one area versus the other, I stop myself from punching myself in the face and being like, oh, I'm wasting time. And I'm saying, no. This is cross training. It's just a different phase that I'm in. So I encourage you to do the exact same thing. And it'll really help your dance, I promise.